question I always get is where Christoffer and I met, so I thought that I would today take you to the place where it all began, Huset. This is where we both worked when we first moved up to Svalbard and for a few years thereafter. This house holds a lot of the town's history and has served as a central location in Longyearbyen for many different purposes throughout the decades. So today we are going to explore the past of me and Christoffer and also the past of the town's probably one of the most important houses. So let's go. Why do they come out of nowhere? Oh my gosh. Wild lapphund. Kom, vi ska på äventyr! Det där är fel håll! So this is where we spent years. How long did you work here for?
I don't know, 5, 6 years maybe.
6 years?
5 years.
Woohoo! It's so weird to be back here. Right now it's closed, as you can see. But we're gonna show you what it looks like. And Grim, you have been here so many times. Okay, so this is where I worked. The office. So this is where I was. So what I did here is I worked as the booking manager, which is this here. What you have behind me is the, what's it called? Dagliga ledaren är ju the general manager. They worked here, Bartos, and so I was here just doing bookings all day long and doing emails and just taking care of all that, because this house is a restaurant, a bistro, a nightclub, and also a banquet hall. So we've had weddings and, you know, so many different dinners here. Is there a dog bed there? Now we're gonna take you around and we're gonna show you, I think, if we can find it, if it's open, where Christoffer lived. He lived in this house for super long as well. So first I'm gonna take you guys around. We're gonna look at it. Right now it's closed because it's out of the season. But it opens again in February, if everything goes okay with the restrictions and everything. So I'm gonna show you the different places and what it looks like. Because this house has a history. It opened in 1951 in the first time. And it is one of kind of the oldest buildings in the village. Grim, ska du komma med oss? Due to the different social classes in Longyearbyen at the time, Huset was built on neutral ground outside the main settlement. You see, Longyearbyen was built as a company town, so you would have the officials and then the working class with quite a big divide in between. The mining company Store Norske began building in 1948 and Huset opened its doors in October 1951. The house was centrally located in the valley and was therefore called the heart of the city. To begin with, Huset was a family-owned business. Richard Knudsen and his wife Petra were the first who ran Huset. The cafe opened in 1951 and was initially open 3 days a week, selling coffee and pastries. Beyond selling food and drink, it also sold gold jewelry and precious stones. In the cafe, you could also buy tobacco and toiletries, while clothing, fishing and hunting equipment could be bought in a small kiosk by the entrance. This place, decorated for Christmas, is so cute. Okay, we're gonna go upstairs with our bird, Grim. Now I'm gonna show you one of the, well, definitely the biggest, but coolest room in this house, okay? Grim, you ready? Come and check it out. Kinosalen. It's huge. So this place is called Kinosalen because and that translates to the movie screening room, because you have all of these seats here. And then you have this huge stage. So it's almost like a cinema. It was a cinema at one point. So this is where there would be weddings or dinners, jazz, the blues festival. So there's like concerts in here. It's huge, it's beautiful. It's a really cool room. This also used to be, back in the day, if I remember correctly, a church at one point. It was a school, a gymnastics hall. So this house has been used for so many different things. Grim, hello? How can he be scared of our floor, but he'll walk up here? Come on, Bella. Look at this. Hello? Hello. Hey, come. Let's just leave him to it. I'm going to show you another room. Come with me. Kom Grim! Hey! Grim is running around. I haven't been back here in a few months. We haven't been to eat here either in a long time. So what did you do for work here? Like, what was your job?
For the first couple of years, I worked in the kitchen as a chef, and then I moved on to logistic.
Okay, so you did logistics, which means that you would go with the van they had here. You'd go to Bring, which is the warehouse.
Yeah. And then I had a list every day, then I picked up all the groceries that I need. So I just...
You did all the food runs, all the stocking of everything. But so, okay, you did logistics, but how long did you work for a chef, you said? As a chef here?
I think about 2 years.
But how did we meet? Before we go into how Christoffer and I met, I want to give some more insight into a question I get daily, which is, how do you actually go about getting a job on Svalbard? We have a lot of different jobs in Longyearbyen within tourism, education, hospitality, and construction. So first of all, I would look at what are you qualified for, and then you start researching companies. It can be as easy as Googling hotels in Longyearbyen and then sending your CV to the ones that are in town. We don't really have one place where all the jobs are listed, so the best bet is to just email the companies. That is actually how one of the guys that built our cabin got his job. He wrote to me on Instagram. I told him to email the construction companies in town, and then he randomly ends up getting a job at the company building our cabin and is the one assigned to build our cabin together with Arvidas. I thought that was the most random thing, but it shows you just how easily you can actually get a job here if you just go looking for them. Svalbard is visa-free and pretty much anyone can come here to work, but since you have to travel through Norway to get to Svalbard, you have to make sure you have the right entry requirements for that. Many jobs will have accommodation available for you to rent, but that is also something that you want to check first. Getting accommodation in town can be quite difficult as there isn't a lot available. When working here on Svalbard, you will be under the Svalbard tax laws, which means that you only pay 16% in income tax. Norwegian is the official language in town, and speaking a Scandinavian language is required at many jobs, but not at all of them. And this is where I am so happy to introduce the sponsor of today's video, which is Babbel. Babbel teaches real-world practical conversations in the language that you choose, and they teach both Swedish and Norwegian, as well as many other languages. Lessons are designed by real language teachers, so no machine learning algorithms or AI, and you choose how many times per day you want to spend learning. I, for one, love the short 10-minute interactive lessons. Then I can learn on the go or when I'm getting ready in the morning. Babbel has award-winning technology, scientifically proven to get you speaking in just 3 weeks, which is ideal. Because let's say you're applying for a job here in Longyearbyen in a restaurant. You can get very far knowing conversational Norwegian and being able to take orders and such in Norwegian. And that could be a huge plus when applying. When I was 16 years old, I lived in a Spanish family in Spain for a year and went to school there, so I'm using Babbel to brush up on my very rusty Spanish. I really enjoy how Babbel teaches you more than just vocab word, it teaches you about the language's culture and the people and the history. Use my code in the description to get 65% off your subscription and 20-day money-back guarantee. So let's get to learning a new language in 2022. But how did we meet? We just didn't even hang out in the beginning when we were working here together. Because we didn't work in the same, you know. But then after a while, we started hanging out. He took me on a cabin trip. Oh my God, the first cabin trip he took me on was on Christmas when I was all alone up here. I had nobody. And everyone I knew were on the mainland. So I spent Christmas with the dogs, and Christopher, he thought that I was so lonely that he's like, oh, I'm not, like, we didn't even hang out. He's like, I'm gonna have to take her somewhere. I was like, on Christmas Day, I was out walking the dogs, like looking into people's homes, you know? Like, there they are opening presents, and I look at my 2 fluffy pups, I'm like, okay, it's just us guys. But it was a good Christmas, I really didn't mind. So that was nice. And then we just kind of started hanging out with and
then we went on another cabin trip.
But yeah, so this is where we met. This house has so much history though, so I'm gonna have to take you guys around and show you some more. Now, Grim, can you see him? He's here. He also, when I worked here, this is how I met Grim. So Olivia, who owned him at the time, she came into work one day with this boy. And I was like, what is this? So these guys would hang out in the office with us all day, every day, or sit outside in a doghouse. Do you want to tell them what you did one morning when they were barking? So these 2 are assholes if you've been here for a while. Grim and Fenris together can be terrible. So they were sitting outside here in a doghouse, screaming. They were barking so much. And Christopher lives here, so he would, you know, wake up in the morning at 8 because of these guys when he had to sleep longer. So what did you do one day?
I took a bucket of water and threw that.
So he opened the window here and he threw a bucket of water at them. Oh gosh, I remember Olivia being like, why did he do that? And I'm like, I kind of get it, you know? Make them stop.
I'm gonna go to the place I lived when I moved up here.
There are so many doors here, by the way. It took me such a long time to realize what took you where. So this is where Christopher lived but they've also renovated it a little bit. So it probably looks quite nice now. This was your home. Okay, close the door and welcome us. Oi. Hi.
Hey, come in.
Oh my God, it looks so much better now. Let's pretend it looked like this when you lived here. So this is where Christopher kept his small boat.
Oh, it was like 1 million stuff. All my clothes hanging on the walls. It was like full. I had a boat in the winter time, the dinghy. The dinghy for the big boat. And tools and scooter stuff and helmets and oh, it was.
Okay, let's take us to the rest.
Here was the kitchen, which I never made any food.
Food-related story about Christopher. So I came up here one time when we started dating, I think, and he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna cook some food. And I'm like, he doesn't go to the kitchen. I'm like, where is he cooking this food? And he has this toaster iron, what's it called? A toaster? Like a mini grill on the table. That's for bread, and he just sticks some duck in there. And he's like, I'm gonna make this here. I'm like, in the middle of your living room, on your coffee table, you have a toaster that you're not putting bread into, you're putting duck into it. He's like, I cook it here for like 10 hours. I was like, okay.
And this was the bedroom.
This looks so much nicer now. So there were cardboard boxes against this whole wall. So it was like out 1 meter for some reason. I don't know why you kept those. And then there was a bed here on the floor. And then there was stuff everywhere.
So true.
Can't believe we're back where you used to live. How many of you were living here at that point?
How many people?
Yeah?
On and off, I don't know, maybe 6 people. I lived alone here.
Yeah, but in the house.
Huset, it was like maybe 6 people sometimes.
Living here permanently, yeah. So like I said before, Huset has served many different purposes throughout the years, having a very important role in the community. It was in here in Kinosalen where Huset had Långebens first movie theater, hence the name Kinosalen, which means movie theater. They also hosted a school which was located here on the second floor. The priest, who also lived in the house with his wife, was the teacher. When the old church burned down in town, there was a period when church services were also held within the walls. And at one point, the terminal building for the airport was also located at Huset. People were taken by bus to gather at Huset and later driven to the old airport, which was located in Adventdalen. One thing I really love is all of the old pictures on the walls. There's so much history being told. Like, I was looking at that one up there where they are doing like ski jumping behind Huset. And if you look in the background, there are no houses. Like, there's like 5 or 6. And if you look now in the background, the same photo, it's a whole village. So much has changed. And just seeing like the pictures of the kids who went to school here and everybody who worked here back in the day. There's just so much history in one place. What's also pretty cool is that the post office used to be in there in the office. So they would stand here and everybody would gather and they would hand out the post. So they would say, blah, 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 has a letter from blah, blah. Here we go. Imagine when it was like that. I feel like this house has been everything.
I had a friend. He went in here and picked up this post, buy some snacks, and a Magnum 44.
All in the same place?
Yes. He also lived here for almost 7 years.
Okay, so this is the wine cellar. I've had dinner in here and like coffee tastings and I think wine tastings and stuff, and I mean, this is epic. And then you have the cellar down here. This actually used to be the changing rooms for the school, for the gymnastics, and now it's a wine cellar. Look at this. It's not big, but it's very, very cool. Look, Grim. It's just like when we worked here. You were my co-worker. It's crazy to think back to how many hours I spent in this room. But it feels like decades ago. So that's a tour where we worked. Christoffer didn't like have an office or anything. He would just work with the car and in like the kitchen and everything. The kitchen is being remodeled, so it's completely blown out, so there's nothing to show there. But we'll come back, Christoffer, and we'll show everything when it's done and open again. And we'll have a dinner here and we'll show you what it looks like. Because that could be nice. Ja, lille grisen. Ja. Ja. Grim, how about you just go and hang out with Christoffer? Ja, gå ut, hej då. It's just here making a lot of noise. But now, I think that's where the tour of this house comes to an end. We're definitely coming back to have dinner so I can show you everything. So that was a tour of the place where Christoffer and I met and where we both spent a few years working. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I shall see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!